Hi, fourth graders. This week, I'm going to be reading you Scarlett's Adventures in Petlandia. As we read the story, I want you guys to be thinking about the author's purpose. Is the author trying to persuade us, to inform us, or just to entertain us? I want you to be thinking about that as I read. So this is Scarlett's Adventures in Petlandia. Scarlett lived in San Marcos and dreamt of being a star with her very own TV show and chauffeur-driven car. But being cute and furry made stardom rather tough, especially as the only words she knew were woof and rough. Feeling brave, she folded up her PJs and a flannel, along with some ideas for her Scarlett YouTube channel. Sneaking into Caitlin's room, she scrawled a doggy note, then kissed her gently on the cheek and went to get her coat. Scampering through the moonlit streets with thoughts of being wealthy, Scarlett stopped beside a sign and thought, "I'll take a selfie." Pulling out her iBone, she posed and took a snap, then headed to the airport while squinting at her map. Scarlett was excited because she'd never flown before, unless you count that time she slammed a laptop on her paw. And as the plane took off, she thought of the A-list hounds and mutts while trying to squish her nose into a teeny bag of nuts. When Scarlett got to Hollywood, she set up several meets, but most of them went wrong because she tinkled on the seats. And even though she tried her best, the top dogs weren't impressed. "We've seen your act before, kid, and look at how you're dressed." With failure after failure, Scarlett's confidence was shrinking. But then she saw a saxophone, which kind of got her thinking. "I need to learn some new tricks to really make me shine, and then I'll make some videos and post them all online." Meanwhile, back in San Marcos, Caitlin found a note. "My dog thinks she'll be famous? Oh, what a silly goat." But suddenly, she looked up and saw Scarlett on the news. She'd become an online superstar with 50 million views. "It seems dogs can learn new tricks," Caitlin thought out loud. Even though she missed her friend, she was also very proud. There was Scarlett on a chat show, tootling away while teetering on a unicycle doing dog ballet. Soon, the world was going wild for Scarlett's jolly tunes. You could even buy a storybook and see her in cartoons. She bought a doggy mansion and a limo and a yacht. She even met the president and partied quite a lot. Other doggies lined up to shake Scarlett by the paw, and scripts for pet-based movies came tumbling through the door. She'd sit and count her money while lounging on her throne. But when she wasn't working, she'd often be alone. Because she felt so lonely, Scarlett bought more stuff. But even though she had it all, it was never quite enough. She tried some doggy yoga, which she thought might make her happy. But that just tied her up in knots and made her sore and snappy. Then suddenly, it hit her as she chewed her oldest bone. What Scarlett wanted most was to be snuggled back at home. Yes, she'd miss her fancy life, the palm trees and her chauffeur, but none of that compared to cuddling Caitlin on the sofa. She called off all her concerts and she gave away her things, but all flights home were fully booked, so she clung onto the wings. Hanging on for dear life as the plane took off the skies made Scarlett think of Caitlin, and tears welled in her eyes. Soaring over San Marcos, Scarlett thought, I've had a hoot, but home is where the heart is, so I need to parachute. Fumbling in her suitcase, she found a sparkly gown, then used it as she leapt off to sort of slow her down. Tumbling through the fluffy clouds was really quite a rush, but Scarlett had to slow down or soon she'd be doggy mush. Just then, she saw a mattress dumped upon a roof, so she steered herself towards it and landed with a woof. Jumping into Caitlin's arms, Scarlett cried with joy. Then Caitlin squeezed the squeaker in a squishy, squashy toy. Fame is pretty epic, but snuggling is the best, thought Scarlett, as she curled up to enjoy a well-earned rest. Miles away in Hollywood, things were much the same, and countless pets arrived each day to search for wealth and fame. They often spoke about that dog who played the saxophone, and how she left it all behind because she missed her home. But Scarlett wasn't bothered that she'd given fame the shove, because her trip had taught her that what really counts is love. The end. All right, thank you, boys and girls. So that story was actually about my dog Scarlett and me. Hope you all enjoyed.